my dear reference.
Hello, Ma. Happy Easter to
Oh,
you.
powerful, powerful. Clearly, clearly. Thank you so much for the feedback. Thank you,
Oh,
thank you,
thank
thank you.
you.
You are welcome. You
Thank
are
you, Ma.
welcome once again to the story room of champions, and we are delighted to have you here. We are highly honored to have your presence here. Thank you
Thank you,
so
Ma.
much for the honor to be here.
Thank you very much, Ma. God bless you.
So the floor is open for you. We like you to introduce yourself to us. I know that to some of us, you are not a stranger. To some of the people in the room, you are not a stranger. But between the last time that you came into the room and now, we have a lot of members.
Oh, wow.
So we
Okay.
like you to we like you to introduce yourself to us again.
Thank you. Thank you, Ma. God bless you. Thank you for the opportunity to
We
serve.
thank God.
My name is Peace George. My friends call me the Edifying Coach. I'm also called the Fierce Igniter because of the work the Lord is doing through me. Um,
We
I
bless
am
God.
I am a leadership coach. The mandate that God has given me by the grace of God, even in ministry as a career, is to raise Christ cultured leaders, whether they're
Mm.
women, men, whatever. But wherever you serve, you being able to see yourself as a leader. And so I help shape and sharpen by the grace of God. I'm also a speaker, right? I'm a transformational speaker. My subjects of focus are again, again, leadership, wholeness,
Leadership.
wholeness. And I don't joke with that particular one because
Mm.
wholeness is where every other thing springs from. So
Mm.
wholeness, I speak about wholeness with all passion,
Mm.
especially for women. I'm a women's coach when it comes to wholeness, because I believe that women are fundamental when it comes to building a society. And so, when a woman is whole, everything else is whole. So I'm a women's coach. I speak on wholeness. I speak on resilience. Okay,
Mm.
and this
Powerful.
particular one, this particular one stems from personal experience, honestly. And given the season that we're in, you know, I believe I can even speak in the capacity of a pastor. The best person that can teach you resilience is Jesus Himself. So yes, I do speak on resilience, wholeness, leadership, and of course mindset, because again, that has to do with anything else. So yeah, that's what I do. I'm a writer. I love
A
writing
great
a lot.
author, great author of
Yeah,
great books.
thank you. And yes, I'm an author. By the grace of God, I've been able to author many books and many more coming by the grace of God.
Mm.
I'm a mom of four. I have three boys and a
Wow,
girl that the Lord has given
powerful.
me. So I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I do all these things. And, more than anything else, if there's anything I would want anybody to remember about Peace George, is the fact that I am a child of God. As simple as that. I'm a child of God.
Daughter
Right.
of
So,
Most High God.
yeah.
That's nice.
Hallelujah.
You are welcome to the story room of Champion once again, and honestly, we are delighted to have you here. The last time that we had you in the story room, we can't have enough of you. We can't have enough of you, and that's the truth. We still can forget some of the points since then, especially the power of God's presence. What
Mm,
the we can't forget it. We can't
thank
forget it.
you.
And there's no doubt about it that tonight, like I was sharing before you came in, that definitely we know that we're going to hear something new tonight. And then it might be something that we have heard before, probably the understanding might be different. And then honestly, people are expectant. People are expectant, and then there's no doubt about it that. So let's just go straight to the point. Let's just
Okay.
go straight to the point. What we are discussing about tonight is the power of resilience. And just like you said, like that's what I was saying, that the world we are in right now is something else.
Mm,
It's not about Nigeria. You are in UK, and I
mm,
know it's not about Nigeria. It's not about Europe. It's everywhere. It's globally.
yeah.
Everyone is crying, especially
Mm,
on economic there's no doubt about it that we need to equip ourselves. We need knowledge, we need skill, and then we need everything that can really add value to ourselves, that can make us to stand firm in the faces of trials, temptation, hardship, and the bad economy that we find ourselves, so that we continue to maintain our sanity and our health as a whole. And that's the reason why, that's the aspect I want us to look the power that I want us to look this topic from, the power of resilience. And then I will want us to start by, what is resilience? What
Hmm.
is resilience? I want us to take it from that. I don't want us to just assume that everybody will have the understanding of the topic.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you for that question also. Yeah, so resilience is the ability for you to adapt and recover from adversity. And when I say recover, people always say, if you hear where resilience is being taught or spoken about, most of the time people say it's just for you to bounce back. But resilience is more than that. Bouncing back is where it starts, really. And I think the easiest way to explain this would be, again, if I'm allowed to just use Jesus as a perfect example, right? So he died, went through adversity by crucifixion, died, was buried, just like every one of us. Sometimes we feel like there's a situation choking you feel out of breath, you feel like you're dying. And then Jesus Christ resurrected, which is his ability to bounce back from it, right? But after resurrecting, what did he do? He ascended. Okay, so that's resilience. So when you fall, you rise, but there's an advancement. So that is you, even while you're down, you're saying, okay, if I get up, the devil is in trouble. I'm moving.
Mm,
So whilst you're able to bounce back, because that's where some people stop. But when I coach people, I tell them it's not enough that you have bounced back. Then what do you do with it? What do you do with the
after
experience that you
bouncing
have
back.
garnered when after bouncing back? What's your story after bouncing back? And that's where the power of resilience really, really, really stems from. So whilst you're down, you're working on how to get out of that situation. Your mind is not just thinking of bouncing back, but advancing,
Mm,
and that's future thinking, that's forward thinking. So resilience for me is your ability to not just bounce back, but also advance in it. And just taking you back to Jesus again, he ascended. So he ascended. After he ascended, what else did he do? He
after
went
after
straight.
descending, after
After
descending, then he
descending,
ascended.
he was
Mm,
buried, and then he resurrected, which is the bounce back, and then he ascended. That's elevation. That's
mm,
elevation. So there's a movement, and that movement is you looking back and saying, "Oh wow, thank God this happened. If this hadn't happened," so you have to think of yourself as a catapult. As a catapult, you've been drawn back, but by the time you're pushed out, that's you going so far, and so you don't have any regrets because you haven't just bounced back, you have also advanced. So this for me is that resilience, your ability to cope with stress, setbacks, challenges,
mm,
whatever, and to bounce back from that difficulty, and use that experience to advance. So that is when the fullness of that power of resilience comes from, you being able to use the experience to now further move ahead. And with Jesus, his mission was to ascend, then went to hell, which was the mission of redemption from the first place. So he had a focus. So you have a purpose. As soon as you bounce back, there's a purpose, there's a mission for you. So you're not just bouncing back and sitting back and say, so bouncing back is the simplest part of it. But the richness of resilience is in your ability to grow from it, your ability to learn from it. And it's a dynamic process that has to be cultivated, and strengthened over time. But you have to, pretty much while you're down, you make up your mind that when you rise, you're not going to remember this anymore, because you're going to advance so fast that when
mm.
you look back, you won't even have any regrets. So for me, that's resilience, and resilience helps us that way to overcome any kind of obstacle, and also achievement of goals. So the achievement of goal is when you have bounced back, what do you do? So achievement of goal is part of that cycle. So it's often associated with psychological emotional resilience, which is also powerful with regards to emotional resilience, because if you don't have that, anything else doesn't matter. And the good thing about that, again, when I talk to people, I always say to them, to really energize your emotional resilience, you need your spiritual resilience. Yeah, you
Mm.
need something to hold on to. Truth be told, adversity is not anybody's mate, but your spiritual resilience, where you draw that strength from, which in my case, as a Christian, is God. And I know that, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens
Because
me.
that's
So
Christ
when
in
I'm
us.
down there, I'm thinking of up there. So from the place of crucifixion, literally, I'm thinking of my elevation. So you see, so you can't be down and you're thinking about your elevation and your perspective is up here. There's no way you can stay down. So that is where that power of resilience lies. So we're talking about you having a positive image, a good self-esteem, your ability to manage your emotions, your ability to cope with stress, your ability to see who can help you. Social networks is part of it. The ability to see who can help you, to filter at that time whether you need people who are going to come around you and pity you, or you need people who are actually going to ignite something in you to actually get up. So, resilience is, there are so many aspects of it. The meaning of life is a part of it. Your flexibility, your adaptability, your ability to take a pause, to retreat, and then try again. All those things are embedded in resilience. So I'm going to leave it at that, really. Thank you very much, Ma.
Awesome. Awesome. That's a powerful response. That's a powerful response. You said something that I want everybody in the room to really take note of. It said when situation and circumstances bring you down as a man or as a woman, you don't look down, you look up and you begin to think about what next. And what next should be something above and not something that is down. But in most cases, people when people fall down, instead of them to be looking up, they were looking down,
Mm,
and before you know it, they were sinking instead of getting up, to the extent that even getting up might be so difficult. And that's the reason why, Coach Peace, I would still want you to really go further, because I know that this is your area, this is one of your area. I would
yes,
still
ma'am.
want you to expand, because of the situation that we, with the world that we are in right now. There's no doubt about it that a lot of people are going through a lot of things, and then people are stuck and
Mm,
they don't know what to do. Many people are stuck and they don't know what to do, and then that's the reason why we keep hearing a lot of the sudden death, early death of people. Well, how will you describe the power of resilience for somebody that is under pressure right now, or for somebody that is stuck right now, for somebody that is just stagnated and didn't know what to do next?
mm,
How can you speak to that person about how the power of resilience can help them?
mm. Thank you very much, Ma. Now, people make a big, I wouldn't even say, because we all go through different things, right? So I wouldn't say people make a big deal out of nothing, but with the power of resilience comes the power of thinking. Your thoughts are
Mm,
very powerful when it comes to resilience. And so, how do you see things is what I would say. If something happened to you now, do you think of the worst case scenario or the best case scenario?
mm,
So in my own case, you look for, even in evil, you look for good in it. So, kind of like when we were hit with COVID and people were saying, oh, this is bad, there's no money. I know lots of people who made a lot of money at that time. So it depends on how you see it. So in living life comes a will, and the will is W for winning mindset. You're in it, but you know you're going to come out of it no matter what, whether it's stagnancy, whatever it is that your own looks like. And everybody has their own, even the best of us, because I think that's where people get it wrong. They think that there's someone somewhere who doesn't have a problem.
There's nobody.
The best of people, those ones that you look at and you say, oh my God, one day I want to be like this. They have their own problems. Believe me. So there you have it. So you need that will, the winning mindset. You need that eye, the intelligence. All right. You have to trust yourself to say, you've got this. I always say to people that you're the best person to encourage yourself. Okay.
Mm.
Your coach can tell you what. Everybody can tell you this. You can have a million motivational speakers around you. And if you don't decide to listen, nothing will happen. So there's intentionality there. You deciding that, okay, I'm going to run with it. And like I said, you have to look away from your present situation. And what has always worked for me is to think, okay, if I look at myself, if you think this person is better than you, think of it to say, okay, in how many years' time would I be like this person? That's the best you can do. But for me, I always envision things and I look at myself and I say, okay, I'm going to give myself so year and I'm going to work towards this betterment. But right now, I'm going to live the $1 million life. And what I mean by that is if I've always wished to have $1 million, then this is the time. I'm going to take the posture. I'm going to behave that way because there's a mentality that comes with every situation. So you want to get out of that thinking of, okay, I'm down, I'm stuck. I'm thinking, okay, this is me. This is my focus. And there has to be a goal somewhere. Even if that goal is, I'm going to get up in the morning. And for me, while I was in adversity, I didn't think much of it. So it's the simplest thing for me, was the simplest thing for me to just say, okay, my goal this morning is to get out of bed. For some people, that's what it's going to look like. For some people, what that is going to, resilience is going to look like is for you to say, I'm going to let this go. Because some people think that holding on is resilience. Sometimes it's letting go.
Mm.
Letting go an old life, letting go an old habit, and letting go an old thought pattern, letting go, forgiving somebody. This is the part where
And
we
even
don't
forgiving yourself
forgiving
and
yourself,
ready to move on.
letting yes, even letting go past accomplishments. Because some people, the person they're actually competing with is the past self.
Mm.
Letting so I what are you going to let go? So with the power of resilience lies what you have to let go so that you can embrace the new. And so that is when the L comes in, learning. You have to learn something. So while you're done, what do I let go? What can I relearn? What can I unlearn? And then you have the other L, leverage. All right, what do I have? How can I move forward? No matter how little the step is, can we just take that step? So for me, if I had to speak to anyone today who is stagnated, who has given up, what I'm going to say is in resilience itself, the R is for retreat, take a break, rethink. Okay, as a man thinketh in his heart, so he is.
So easy.
Rebuild yourself by rethinking. Change your thought pattern. If it hasn't served you, then what else can you do? I lost my job. Okay, what else can I do? I lost the contract. Okay, what else can I do? I invested and lost everything. Okay, where else can I start from? So rethink and then encounter God. This is very important for me. I always say to people, I don't care how independent you are, you can't be independent of your maker. He knows you, and your self-discovery is embedded in you discovering God. So encounter God is a good time for you to find him. Go find God and check the identity of God. And this has helped me with my own identity. What adversity tackles is your identity. It will
Mm.
bring you down, break you, take your self-worth from you, hijack your self-confidence from you. And so when you encounter God, and by encountering God, I mean go and find out about your own maker. And the Bible says that we are made in his image and likeness. And so from there, the next step is there, self-discovery. By the time you encounter God, you will discover yourself. So you go on, you encountering God is you going on this journey of self-discovery. Romans 8, who are you? You are a son of God. Everything is right there for you. Break it down. Everything you need. Romans 12, Romans 8, they're all there for you to find out who am I really. You being able to know who you are is you being able to tell your circumstances you're messing with the wrong person. And then your self-compassion. Be gentle on yourself. The worst of attack is the one that you inflict on yourself psychologically. That can break anything from within. You want to attack any army or any camp or any kingdom. If you get an enemy from within, they're finished. They are done. So this is what happens to us when you don't have compassion on yourself. You're the one judging yourself. You're the one speaking negatively about yourself. That needs to stop. You need to have some compassion. So self-compassion in the S in resilience, self-compassion, and that will help you to
Mm.
build your self-worth. And you also need a strong support. So who are those people supporting you? Are you surrounded with people who will say, sorry, oh, and they will go? Or you have people
Without
saying, okay,
adding any value to
without
you,
adding anything, even making you, they leave you even worse than they met you.
worse
So
than
you
they
have
met
to,
me.
you need that strong support. For me, I would say the church family, for me, when I went through things, they helped me a lot. I have friends there were some of my friends I had to avoid because they don't know any other way to react than, sorry, oh. They're not bad, but they are pity, they can plant
As at that
any.
particular point in time, maybe
I
that's not
didn't
the
need
kind
them.
of friends
Yeah,
that you.
I knew I didn't need them. So I went for the strong ones. So you need strong support. And then you need to incline. What is God saying? The best time to get instructions is when you don't have any option. Sometimes when you have options, they're still trying. They're trying. But when you don't, God is always speaking, even when you think you have options. Incline, listen. Another I is impact. Look beyond yourself. Start doing something else. Get busy. Do something for other people. Things that will bring joy to other people. That has a way of pulling you out of that pit of adversity. So say
Mm.
go out and do that. And then, I've talked about learning, which is, the L in resilience, and then express, impact, express yourself, all those talents, all those gifts, don't waste them. There are lots of things I didn't know that I could do until, problem came. In fact, the best of food that I cook is when I'm broke. I can pretty much mix anything together and it will make sense. And there's so
Mm.
many things I can bake today that the only reason why I found out about it was because I didn't have the money for the usual. So you'll be surprised what adversity can actually bring out for me. Some creativity that I've unraveled just
I am
because of
said, I'm
adversity.
said.
So it's
You are right.
brilliant. It's brilliant. It's not a bad thing because we see it as a bad thing. So express those things. What's coming to you? What are your talents? The ones you call little, the littlest of them all will serve you. And then nurture yourself. What are you feeding yourself with? Nurture yourself. Look at what you're feeding yourself, whether it's what your eyes are seeing, or what your ears are hearing, or what you're even eating. Because sometimes when people are down, they tend to eat a lot. So what you're even eating, check it. So it's a time to nurture yourself. You become your own mommy. It's a time to pay attention to yourself and then cultivate optimism. For me as a Christian, that's faith that what, no matter what, and you don't need a lot of it. It's mustard size faith. So you do mustard seed size faith. So you don't need a lot of it. So, but you believing that okay, out of this, something great is going to happen, or more like something great must happen out of this evil. And if you can have that, the next thing you'll do is excel, which is the E. You will excel, and every time, because adversity is not something that stops, because I'm not even going to sit here and lie to you that okay, it will now stop. No, the Bible didn't even tell us that.
It's
So
part of life. It's part
it's
of life. The
part
more you
of
are moving,
life.
the more, yes, the more challenges.
This is why you have to even normalize it and always rethink. Okay, because even while you're down and you're still saying that won't spare you another adversity. So you
Yes.
better get up and move so that when another one comes, you've made it far. So this is what I always tell people, and I hope it serves somebody out there, that resilience is what you need. Resilience, when problems come, they're not problems really. Anytime you see a problem, it's because you have a solution to that problem. That's why that particular problem has come to you. And you can agree with me, Ma, that most of the things you've been through in life, as you grow, you start to meet people who naturally would come to you to tell you they have the same problem.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
because
Yes.
because you have become and it's just magnetic that way. People will just come to you and say, this is what I'm going through, and you'll be wondering why. But that's because there's a key that has been handed to you while you were
Yeah.
down there in that pit of adversity, and you made it through. So the ones you make it through, you will meet people who face the same problem,
Who need
and
it?
because you have the solution, you have to provide the solution. So I won't be here today talking about resilience. If I hadn't been in one hardship like that, I'll probably not even be a speaker. I'll probably be with the NHS, as a nurse, doing something totally different from what my destiny is. So resilience helps you to find your purpose. Resilience helps you to find your place. Resilience gives you the right posture to
Mm,
solve problems. And so if you see it that way, everything will be just fine. Thank you very much, ma'am.
mm. Thank you so much for that awesome response. Resilience give you posture
It gives you a posture to solve problems.
to solve problem. Give you posture to solve problem. Mm. That's powerful. That's powerful. Before we move forward, I saw some question that I want us to tackle before we move further to another question. Somebody said somebody quoted you what you said earlier. You are the best person to encourage yourself. For me, it's a yes and no.
Hmm.
Well, the person believe and then he doesn't believe again. Probably we want you to expand on that.
Okay.
And
So
also, you talk about leverage. Please, what do you mean?
Okay, well, thank you very much, ma'am. So, with regards to the best person that can encourage yourself, it takes discipline. Anything in life takes discipline. You can sit, sleep, eat encouragement, eat motivation, do everything until you decide to use those things. What you've been doing is just hearing. That's what it is. That is why, even as believers, we can't encourage with normal words. If you're encouraging anybody and you're not encouraging with the word of God, because the word of God is the one that has power to penetrate the heart. That's the difference. So if I'm saying that you're the best person, your own best coach, at the end of the day, all these people will leave. And
And
I
until
don't
you
think
take action, nothing happens. It does not matter what you read, what you
until
hear.
you take action, it will not matter. And the thing is, if everybody speak to you and you hear their voice, there's something called the inner voice. I like to call the inner me. If your inner you, the inner me is the enemy, a million quotes, if that will never change anything until you convert your inner you to your friend. So that's why I said you are your own best coach. You are your own best encourager. Because even if you will hear somebody else's voice, you will still hear yourself speaking what they are saying. It's your own voice that you will hear until you speak those words again to yourself.
To
That's when you
yourself.
soak it all in. So that's what I meant by you being your own best encourager, deciding that, okay, now it's time for us to do it. Until you do that, nothing else will change. The best of coaches will tell you that. So it doesn't lie with
Uh,
the person motivating you, but it lies with
yes,
you at the
yes,
end of the day.
yes, yes. And I support what you said because I remember I read something from the portion of the Bible, and since then my life has never remained the same again. The Bible said that David encouraged himself in the Lord.
The Lord.
David decided to, despite the affliction, despite the trouble on ground, despite the problem, despite that, even his people are about stoning him,
mm,
but he knew that he need to do something by himself,
mm,
and he encouraged himself. Encourage yourself, give you strength. Encourage yourself, motivate you to go on even in the verge of situation and circumstances. And this has greatly helped me a lot in many times.
mm,
And that's the reason why there's nothing I cannot dabble into. There's nothing I cannot reach. There's no place, even in business world, you must learn to encourage yourself, because people will come and go. Nobody will force you to work.
mm.
You must learn to work. People will not force you to stand. You must learn to stand for yourself. So I hope this helps somebody that put this one in comment section. Then I would like you to briefly explain about the leverage.
Okay, so leveraging um whatever it is you have. So I'm going to go with the story of the woman in um Kings, the woman with who just the prophet asked her what she has, and she said nothing but a jar of oil. So everybody has something that they look at as nothing first, nothing but, just something that you have commonized, you have made so little, you don't look at it. Look at that thing very well. Most of the time, those are the things that serve you the longest.
In
So that's
most
why.
cases, they are the platform that God wanted to stand on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that little jar of oil,
Mm.
because it could have been anything. So I always say to people, it has to be that little jar of oil. I remember one day that somebody asked me if I could help them to write. I said, I write so well, but so little. It wasn't a thing that I did. Writing was just, me just doing something for fun. I could write poems all day long. But when I went, when I faced that adversity and I was left with me, I had to find a way to just start writing. It was even about writing my own story. And I began to enjoy it. And now, every day, I write. Every day I write. But writing has never been, if I wanted to describe myself before that time, I would never have said I'm a writer.
I can write.
I never saw myself that way. So it was my, nothing but a jar of oil. And yet today I leverage on that to do so many
Mm.
things, by the way. So many things. So that's what I meant by leveraging on anything around you at all. Look within you first before you look around you. And that way, there are things that will serve you, that has always been with you. Even hobbies. We know people today, their hobbies feed them till tomorrow. So that's what I meant by leveraging on anything at all, that you have.
Thank you very much, Coach Peace. That's very apt. And I would like to say this to as many of us that we are in the room, and to as many people that will still be watching this replay, that it does not matter where you are now. What Coach Peace is saying is that from where you are right now, there's something that you have. Look within yourself. There must be something that you have that you can leverage on. Look within yourself, look around yourself. There
Mm,
must be something. For that woman that she mentioned, it was just a jar of oil, something that we can call Goya oil, something that we can call Goya oil. As little as bottle of Goya oil is, that was that one thing that God wants that woman to leverage on. She leveraged on that, and the story changed. Look within you. Everything is not about money. It can be your ability to serve others.
that's
It
right.
can be ability to encourage others. It can be the ability, you know, to appreciate others that will open doors of opportunities for you. Just look within yourself. There's something in you. There's something about you. There's something that you have that, as you are waiting for God, asking God, sometimes we believe we are funny.
Mm.
We are waiting for God to do something for us. Why God is actually waiting for us to take a step,
Make a move. That's it.
for Him to bless us. And the reason why I always say this, the reason why a lot of people are stuck in life, it's just because they are waiting.
Mm.
They are waiting period. But there are times that you need to take a step. Just take a step. Just do something. It can be little. It can be funny. It can be crazy. But just do something, because
Mm.
that thing that you need to do might be something that the whole world is waiting for.
Mm.
So, in essence, you are in the room and you are listening to us now. I want you to know that you are not empty. Oh,
Mm.
you are not empty. You have something that the whole world is waiting for.
Yes, ma'am.
And that thing is in you. You just need to find it out. Just look within yourself.
Can I just add, ma, that
Yes, yes, yes.
waiting is not inactivity. That's something that
Mm,
God has taught me, because that's the mistake that most believers make. Like you said, waiting is not inactivity. Waiting can be you serving on to, you're waiting on. I like to liken that to the waiter in a restaurant. So
yes,
you're
that's what is
working.
my mind. Yes,
You're working in a restaurant and you're waiting on something. That doesn't mean you stand and people will be saying, "We
yes.
need food." You just stand there. No, you have to go out there. That's waiting. It's not inactivity, but you serving others while you're discovering yourself. That's waiting. So while you wait, what are you doing? The power of resilience is right there. That's why the I in resilience is impact. Until what you have serves others, it will not bring anything to you. It's
Mm,
selfishness and it will not take you anywhere. So until that thing, even in your discovery, she had to go out and get vessels. The woman went out to get vessels. Nobody will come to her house and say, "Hey, we need some oil." And she'll say, "I don't have." Because she already came to their house. She already used their vessels. She filled their vessels up. So she has already affected our community that way. So waiting is not inactivity. Waiting is service. While you wait, you're still solving problems for others. Maybe not yours, but while you're doing that of others, your own will show up somehow. It's you sharpening your skills while you're waiting. Thank you very much, Ma.
mm.
Just add that.
Thank you. Powerful, powerful. And I hope that people are really, really getting something out of this. Waiting is not inactivity. As you are waiting, you are serving. As you are waiting, you are observing. As you are waiting, you are looking around. As you are waiting, you are observing things, you are observing yourself for discovery.
That's right.
And until you discover, you can recover,
That's right.
because recovery is in the room of discovery.
That's right.
And that's what you do while waiting. Thank you so much, Coach Peace. This is getting better. Before I go to another question, if you are in the room and you have any question for our coach in the house this evening, please, let's have your question on the comment section. Let's have your question on the comment section in case you have any question. And I hope the person with this question, I hope you are fine with the response. If you have any other question, please don't hesitate to put it on that comment section. Okay, Coach Peace, I would like you to respond with your own experience
Hmm.
in relating to the topic that we are treating this evening. Can you please describe to us when something didn't work out as well as what you hoped for? What did you do, and what did you learn from such?
Hmm. Okay,
When
so
something you plan, we always like to plan our ways. This is what I will
hmm,
do. We have our goals, and we are taking action in response to our goals. But things are not really working out
hmm.
as you hope. What did you do, and what did you learn from it?
Oh wow. So there are lots of things
Mm,
competing in my head right now. All right. So, what did I learn from it? I'm going to go with my marriage. There was a time that I had that feeling that something was wrong with my marriage, and we had lots of things going on, my husband and I. And the first thing I did was to retreat. Retreat is a very powerful thing because sometimes you're in the heat of it, it's going to affect anything else, anything that you do, anything that So the first thing I did was to isolate myself from the incident and look at it from the outside to say, okay, if I were an observer, what would I do? Okay, so again, there are so many things I had done before that didn't work, that even aggravated the situation. So I thought, okay, how can I try something else? And in this case, trying something else was me going in the place of solitude. And just sometimes what strength looks like is silence. It's silence. And because sometimes you're trying to take the pressure off you, and you're speaking
Mm.
to, and the things you're saying is hurting more. It's hurting you, it's hurting the other person, and things are not going fine. So I just went straight into silence. And one of the things that I know for sure that works is prayer. I don't joke with prayer. And so I took that. But after then, I had to look for practical things that worked for me. I started to journal a lot. Journaling helps. I started to, we talked about rethinking, but what really works is, some people call it affirmation. I call them declaration because, in where I come from, I'm a king and a priest. And so you have the right to decree and overturn the situation. So, things were going really bad. He wasn't listening. I wasn't listening. So I had to come to that place of, okay, let me intercede on our behalf. And intercession,
Mm. Mm.
intercession can
Mm.
look like prayer. Intercession can look like listening. Okay, like listening. So, after I had prayed, I had to listen to him, not as his wife, but as his friend. Because as his wife, I found out that I was judging a lot. But as his friend, I listened. And having been able to listen to his side of the story, we got the full picture. And then, we're like, okay, how do we move ahead? How do we move out of this problem?
Mm.
Because it was really a huge shaking. But I first of all had to step out of it, see myself as another person entirely. Like, okay, if I wasn't in this situation, what's the advice that I would give to somebody else? Because sometimes we're quick to give advice, but when you're in it, you don't want to take the same advice.
It's like doing away with me. You
Yes,
try to
just
do away with me.
with me, because there's no other lens I can use but this selfish lens. And I'm saying, okay,
Mm.
if I
Mm.
had to come in as somebody else, as a sister in marriage, this has helped me a lot. If I had to listen to my husband as a wife, we would fight and fight. Well, this one is right, that's not. But if I had to listen to him as a friend, so we can give, I can be as candid as possible, not with the, so it comes with emotional intelligence, if I must say. When should I be furious? When should I be calm? When should I listen? When do I need to be out there? When do I need to retreat and retake those steps? How did I get here? What did I do wrong? Those, and then recalibrate this. All these are very important when it comes to resilience. So you rethink, you restart, you recalibrate your mind, which the Bible
You
calls the
retreat.
renewing of your mind. You can't always be right. Even when you're right, can you hear the other person out? So, that helped me a lot. So I had to come into the situation. I had to step into that as pretending to be a mediator. And then when I heard the full story that I would never have heard if I was a wife, I would never have waited to listen to it.
No, if you are still
Um,
putting forward me, and this
just
is a big lesson that we need to learn, not only in marriage, in every relationship
in
that we
every,
find
yes,
ourselves.
be
In every
selfless.
relationship that we found ourselves, there are times that we need to put me aside.
Mm,
We need to put me, the selfishness in us, we need to put
that's
it
true.
aside and put our shoe in the shoe of others.
Mm,
If I am in this shoe, if I'm in this person's shoe, what will I do? How will I tackle it? Will I be
Mm.
able to take it? Will I be able to, not to take it? And until we learn to do that, we keep finding ourselves in unnecessary crisis.
That's
That
right.
that's a powerful one. That's a powerful one. Thank you so much for that. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for that. I will not mind if anybody can just help me to put all this R inside in our comment section. Rethink, retreat. Coach P, can you give us some other thing? Retreat, rethink,
Restart. Always
restart,
recalibrate. Yeah. Renew your mind.
recalibrate,
Yes.
renew your mind. Powerful.
Reevaluate. Reevaluate. Never
Reevaluate.
get stuck on a point. Okay,
Mm.
examine it again and again and again until you see the 360-degree.
Admin, I will appreciate if you can help us to put all these R. They are powerful words. They are powerful words that when we can put them to use, it will really help our life
Mhm.
and input in us the power of resilience.
That's right.
The last question that I would like you to respond to before we call it a day today is, can a person develop resilience, or you learn it? Is it
Ah,
something that can be developed? Is it something that you are intentional about? Is it something that's on your own, or for somebody outside there?
absolutely. Resilience is a skill that can be developed. The more you use it, the better you get. And until it becomes so automatic. You meet some people and once you tell them there's a problem, the first thing they'll tell you is, "Oh, don't worry. Don't worry, nothing, whatever comes will be okay." So it's a mindset of you just knowing that you're a winner. Whether you're down, whether you're out, you're a winner. So it's that powerful. It's something that can be built over time. So as long as you're engaging with yourself that way, I wouldn't even say nobody is born with it. Nobody's born with it. Some people also, just like fear grows, resilience also is a skill that you sharpen as you go along the way. So yes, it can be built that way. How do you build it? I mean, I've said most of it. Just always make sure that you set goals. Goal setting is one of the best things you want to do in building your resilience. Always set goals so that even when you're down, you have a sub goal, and then when that one is off, you have another sub goal. So that those are the ways you build. So it's about coping with adversity. Whenever this door closes, always look to see. As I say, sometimes we look, but we don't see. But with resilience, you must always look to see and almost always find something that you must pick on and say, okay, let me grow again with this. So it's a skill over time that can help you. So I wouldn't say it's innate. Maybe it is for some people, maybe because some people have seen their mothers. We hear things like, I would even say if you're Nigerian because your own threshold is different. Because I'm from Nigeria and the threshold there is different. So even what you think eh, an average Nigerian, because of this, that we are so used to adversity, we always find a way out. That it has become a culture.
And that's what
Yeah.
I'm about to say. That sometimes you became resilient because of what you've been through, and because
Yeah,
of what you are still going through. Because
absolutely.
especially when you have no option than to keep going. When you don't have any option than for you to keep moving, for you to keep
Mm,
going, then you learn how to encourage yourself and keep going.
that's right. That's right. So yes,
Oh,
it
powerful.
can be cultivated over time. Cultivated is the
Mm,
word. Cultivated is
mm,
the word. So you have decided that okay, this is how we're going to do it anytime because you know that adversity will always come. So it's a decision to say anytime it comes, how will I respond? So your
mm,
response must always be,
mm,
I will overcome, no matter what
mm.
so and that's how you build your resilience really. So it's in the response I always say. So if it's say emotional resilience, something comes your way, you need to react in a certain way. How do I cope with this stress? And then when you have answered that, then how do you react to it? So there's a regulator there. Anything that comes your way, you have a regulator, and that's how do I respond to it. So the power of your response, whether it's financial resilience, physical resilience, the power of your response is what drives resilience. How do you see it? So somebody is angry with you. How do I respond to this anger? This thing is thrown at me. I just lost my job. How will I respond to it? And when your
Mm.
response is right, everything else will respond the way you have responded. If you've responded positively, there's a positive effect that will take on your body, on your emotion. And so some people, no matter what comes their way, they're just happy. They're not happy because they have dollars in their account. They're not happy because they're just happy. That's because over time they've worked on that skill and it has become automatic. So, what is your reaction when things come your way? Are you, I was reading something today about tonic immobility, where take for instance, animal. It happens to animals a lot, but you can also use it on humans. Tonic immobility, when something comes near them and they're fearful animals, and then they pretend to be immobile. They pretend to be dead. So it's a tactic that they use. But, I was thinking about it today and saying some people actually, when they're faced with adversity, they go into that state where out of fear, they're just immobile, right? But then they don't get up from it. They forget that, okay, this is it's just temporal. You have to get up and move, but you just stay in that state of turning immobility, and then it becomes their life. Do you see? So with resilience, the more you tackle your problems head on, we talked about bouncing back. I read a book about the comeback. That's the name of the book, by a dear friend of mine, and he mentioned that you're like a shock absorber. You enter into you enter into a hole, okay, a pothole, and I need you to think of this pothole as the Nigerian pothole, the worst of it all, right? And then you enter into this pothole, but because you're a shock absorber that is good, you're bouncing right out of it, so it doesn't have any effect on you. Do you see? And
Mm.
there's a way the way resilience helps us is that when you're resilient, I'm resilient, the people around us begin to learn it. It becomes a way of life.
Yes, yes,
It
yes.
becomes a way of life. And if I again proudly I can use my country as an example, Nigeria, I always think, what is it that when they're going through the worst of things, go on Instagram, they always create a way to laugh. And I respect that. There'll
I'm
always be
telling you,
something
that
to laugh about. There'll
powerful
always
creator. There's nothing that they cannot recreate.
nothing. And
There's
it's
nothing.
brilliant. And so there's hardship, but they don't look like they're hardship.
I am telling you,
There's
I'm telling
hardship,
you,
but our people still laugh. That
I'm
is the
telling
power of
you.
resilience, because
Mhm.
they don't know any other way. Over time, they've mastered the art of resilience, and so nothing faces us. So that's it. It can be cultivated. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you very much, Coach Peace. It has been an incredible moment, and we really appreciate it. So before you go, we'd like you to talk to us about one or two of your books and how we can get your book. You've
Oh,
told
okay.
us you've told us what you do, and then one or two people may be in our room that we want to follow you to have one-on-one
Oh,
chat
wow.
with
Okay.
you. We like you to let us
Right.
know your handle, your social media handle, or how we can get in touch with you, and also your books, how we can get your book.
Oh, thank you very much, Ma. Yes, so my social media handle is at the Peace George. All
The Peace
across
George.
all social media
Admin,
is
can you please help us with it on our comment section? The Peace George.
the Peace George. Yeah. So
The
once
Peace
you put
George.
the Peace George, I'll come on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, the Peace George, and on my bio on my bio you'll find the link to buy my books. I write both for children and for adults, of course. I've written books on adversity. I have a couple of them coming out also, by the grace of God. in a few weeks.
I would like to know about. I think one of your books that I've not really that I've not really about is the Mystery Man.
Oh, the Mystery Man. Thank you. So the Mystery Man is a children's book, very very great book actually. It was during COVID-19. We met a man just very close to us here, me and my kids, and the man is the Mystery Man. The story, is surrounded by something about angels and how we can miss out on them just because the world has become a place where they
Oh,
say don't talk to strangers. But the Bible teaches us the opposite of that. So while we say don't talk to strangers just to make our children safe, but they have to listen to the heart because there are angels working amongst us. So that's what the Mystery
oh,
Man is about.
okay,
So
okay.
yeah, so
So
my
we
books
can
are
get the
on
book on.
Amazon. Yeah, my books are on
Okay, mommy.
Amazon. And then, there's a link, like I said, on my bio that can take them straight. But if you go on Amazon and you type Peace George Books, a couple of them is going to pop up by the grace of God.
Ah,
It's a ministry.
okay.
Writing is a ministry on its own. So it's not just for the fun of it. It's because, there are things God
Oh,
wants us to tackle, given the situation of things and everything going on around us. There are some
and
things
around
that
us.
God wants us to document so that we don't forget how to live
Mm,
that way. So, it's a
mm.
ministry of its own. So you want to check it out. Yes. Thank you so much,
Oh,
Ma. I really appreciate it.
that's powerful. That's powerful. Just like the Bible says in the book of Deuteronomy that the revealing things, the one that is not revealed belong unto God, but the revealing one belong unto us and to our children. So
The
that's the reason
children.
why we need to write it
Yes.
down for the benefit of people that will read it and run with it. That's
Amen.
good. We are glad to have you around. Is our time? Our time is up, and we are grateful to have you here. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much,
much
and
for
God bless
having
you.
me.
We pray that Almighty God will continue to prosper you, continue to prosper the work of your hands, and continue
Amen.
to strengthen you in all the assignment that He has committed into your hands. And thank
Amen.
you for being a blessing to
Thank
this
you, Ma.
world. You are a great blessing. You are a great
Amen.
blessing. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much. For
much.
as
So
many of us in the story room of champion, don't forget to follow the peace judge, and then as you follow her, I know that you will not have anything to regret about, but you will thank me later. So just
follow me as
as
I
you are
follow
leaving the
Jesus.
room,
You can follow
as
me as
you
I
are,
follow
yes,
Jesus.
yes, you follow her as she's following Jesus. And because we can see the glory of God upon your life, and that's the reason why we ask you to come into the room to be a blessing
Thank
to us.
you.
And
Thank
this is the second time that you are coming, and honestly, there's always something new to take away whenever we have you around. And thank you so much for being much of blessing. Thank you so
you
much.
so much. God bless you.
Yes, ma'am. So we like to call it a day because of our time. And then I will encourage us to watch the replay. And I know that definitely there will be one or two things that will resonate with you that you need. And if you forget anything from the session of this power of resilience, never forget that you are not empty. Never forget that you have nothing. You have everything. You have everything. There's something that is in you that the world is waiting for. And it's your responsibility to look inward, to look inward, to look inward. Just look inward, look around you. There's something that God has given unto you that the world is waiting to bless the world with. Till I see you last Sunday in the month of April, stay relevant and stay blessed. Bye bye. God bless you. Love you all.